Hi, getting Erev Shabbos, everybody. Welcome to Jerry's Parsha Ponderings for Vayeishev, Miketz, Chanukah. This is going to be a gala recording this week, so I'm going to try to keep it short, but there's quite a bit of stuff to cover, so let's just jump right into it. Parshas Vayeishev, Miketz, and Chanukah, all dealing with Yosef and the incredible story of how Yosef became the viceroy of Egypt from the humblest of beginnings, and how it all happened. So if we take a look at the beginning of Parshas Vayeishev, Yosef has these dreams of his family bowing down to him, of him being not the viceroy, we don't know that yet, but some sort of king. And what wound up happening was his brothers became very jealous of him. They became jealous of his dreaming. Vayekanu bo echav. His brothers thought, like, who is this kid gonna tell us that he's going to be a king over us? It was, they found it extremely off-putting, to say the very least. And his dreams were interesting. First, he had the dreams about the sheaves, and then the dreams about the sun, the moon, and the stars bowing down to him. And he tells his brothers about it. No one knows why he told his brothers about it. He thought maybe they'd help him understand what's going on, possibly, or I don't know if he really thought he was, he was going, hey guys, I had this dream, trying to tease them. I don't think that was the whole thing, but the brothers were very upset about this whole thing. And what happened was they became extremely jealous. They were jealous of his Ketonet Pasim, the coat of many colors, the Technicolor dream coat that his father gave him. And the whole situation caused a great deal of jealousy. And what's interesting about this is that if you know about the whole story that we discussed with Yaakov and with Esav, and the story there, how he wound up becoming he became the progenitor of Am Yisrael. And Esav, after he got the Bechorah and the Brachot, he became very jealous. Yet Yaakov went ahead over here and very surprisingly committed Einstein's definition of insanity, in a manner of speaking. And the same thing happened with Yosef that happened with Yaakov. Again, he had the coat with the story with Yaakov. Remember that Rivka made him put on or recommended that he put on the Esav's beged, and he gave Yosef a beged that was supposed to give him royalty. And yet, jealousy once again raised its ugly head, and kind of bad things happen. Yosef winds up at the bottom of the pit with the snakes and the scorpions, and he winds up being sold as a slave. Again, it all goes back to the story of Yaakov and Rachel. Leah was jealous. All of this stuff happened through jealousy. All of this stuff happened through jealousy. And we know that the Torah doesn't waste real estate. And the Torah is telling us here how bad the midah of jealousy is, that it is perhaps the worst of the bad midos. And all sorts of nasty stuff happens as a result of jealousy. Yes, it all ended for the best, but keep in mind that Yosef was really supposed to be the leader. That's why Yaakov gave him the Ketonet Pasim. Had the whole thing not happened with Lavan and Leah and Shvatim, Yosef would have been the firstborn, he would have been the king, he would have been Mashiach. That's why we have a Mashiach ben Yosef and a Mashiach ben David. That's a whole Zohari type of discussion. But Yosef was supposed to be the king. And it didn't happen that way. Why didn't it happen that way? Hashem had his reasons. We had to learn lessons on how to live life in the real world. If you remember Lavan, with the whole story with Lavan and Yaakov, how he had to become Vayakveni, he had to learn how to fight with his head rather than his fists, because once the Kol Yaakov and Yadayim Vayeishev thing broke up, so Yaakov now had to fight with his brains, not so much his brawn. Once the eventual, the ultimate reconciliation happens between Yaakov and Esav, and we discussed how we're seeing this in our day, now that we're living in the Zman Geula, then things will be different. But for right now, all of this had to happen so that we could learn how to live in the world as Jews, and also to learn the lessons of what bad midot can lead to. So we have to learn, we have to understand, and we have to take all of these lessons to heart. But realize that the midah of jealousy is a bad one, and it causes great problems. The story of Eshet Potiphar, very quickly, we have to mention this, how Yosef was accused falsely and ultimately was thrown into the pit again, into prison again. He was thrown into the pit, and then he had to spend 12 years in the gulag for something that he was accused of, that his accuser was actually guilty of. Hey, does this sound like anything going on in the world today? I'm not going to get too much into politics today, maybe a little bit, but all the stuff that the certain groups all over the world, but let's focus on the U.S. for right now, are guilty of, they're accusing the president of. Right? She said that, oh, he tried to molest me. No! She tried to molest him. So she accuses him of the very thing that she's guilty of: coercion and obstruction of Congress and abuse of power, right? And getting your son a cushy job on the board of a foreign energy company for which he didn't even have to show up for and get paid $50,000 a month. I mean, this is right out of current events, right? I mean, we're seeing exactly what happened. And yet, it led to great redemption in the end, because in the end, the truth always wins out. As we're going to see, that Yosef wound up in prison, and he was there almost ready to give up. He had reached the bottom of despair. And then, right at the last minute, what happens? The dreams, those very dreams that got him thrown into the pit with the snakes and scorpions, he becomes the dream weaver. There's a song like that from, I think, the 1970s. There's a great, and through his dream weaving, through this ability that he had, that Hashem gave him, remember, he was supposed to be the Mashiach, he was supposed to be the king, he had the vision, right? The Sar Ha'ofim, the Sar Hamashkim, we can go into what that all means, but again, maybe next year. He was able to interpret their dreams, and Yeshuat Hashem keharif eye, and God's salvation is like the blink in the eye. You could even see in the Torah that it says that because of what happened, the Sar Hamashkim winds up pouring the kos of Paro yet again, and for some strange reason, Paro winds up having these strange dreams. These dreams about the cattle and the dreams about the sheaves, similar. And the Sar Hamashkim remembers that Yosef gave him this special interpretation. The Saraophim was hung. He wound up going back to his post. Yet he initially didn't help Yosef, because who's going to help a Jew in prison? But when it paid off for him, he actually did come and tell Paro exactly what Yosef did. And we could even see in the Parsha that Vayegalach, Vayechalef Simlosav, Vayavo el Paro. 1, 2, 3, in a matter of seconds, Yosef was standing in front of Paro and he interpreted the dreams. And because of that, he winds up as viceroy. He takes his rightful place at the head and winds up saving not only Am Yisrael, but the entire civilized world. Because those years in prison, even though he was at his lowest point, Mimamakim karaticha Hashem, he kept his faith. And he would not give up hope, even at the darkest moment. Now, here's something very, very interesting. We see that the story, this is just a little bit of an aside that my dad told me about. The Medrash tells us that Yosef spoke all the languages. He had like a photographic memory. He was an absolute genius. Again, he was supposed to be the Mashiach. And when he was speaking to Paro, he spoke, the one language that he spoke that Paro didn't was Hebrew. And Paro begged Yosef, don't tell anybody that you speak one more language than I do, or they will impeach me. The Yalkut Me'am Loes actually uses the word impeach. Isn't that interesting? That Yosef actually, by becoming the viceroy, became Paro's second in command and wound up saving the whole world because he had this one ability that Paro didn't. So I just found that fascinating. But so now Yosef's in charge of the whole free world. He is providing sustenance to the whole free world. Now, Yosef, again, the intended king of Israel, providing sustenance to the whole world. The Or Lagayim, saving them at a time of famine, the light unto the nations, coming from the strangest of places, from the free world, the most, what's the word I'm looking for? The most advanced civilization at the time, Egypt, which was basically the leader of the world, and Yosef's in charge. What does all of this have to do with Chanukah? See, we read Parshat Vayeishev and Miketz usually on either side of Chanukah. Sometimes it's, Bo Bayom. But it's very interesting that this entire incident occurs around the time of Chanukah. What did Paro dream about? Paro dreamt about weak cattle ingesting and making the great cattle disappear. Same thing with his dream about the sheaves. You literally had the weak conquering the strong. The weak conquering the strong. Masarta giborim biad chalashim. You put the Hashem, you, God, you delivered the mighty into the hands of the weak. I don't know if you want to call them weak, but few in number, the many in the hands of the few. This happened at the time of Yosef. This happened at the time of Yetzias Mitzrayim. This happened at the time of the establishment of the state of Israel. This is the Geula process. The few conquering the many. It's just incredible. Yet this is the story of Chanukah, and this is the story of Geula. Bayamim ahem, bazman hazeh. Both then and now. Even though bazman hazeh, at this time, but at this time that we are in right now, we are experiencing the Masarta Giborim Biyad Chalashem, the actualization of Paro's dream. We're seeing it unfold right before us. Chanukah is the miracle of lights. It is the holiday of lights. It is the quintessential expression of Or Lagayim, of how we have a little bit of light can get rid of a whole room of darkness. A tiny little spark of light can light up a room that's completely dark. We're in times when the Jewish people, the state of Israel, we as Am Yisrael are bringing light unto the nations, both the light of Torah and the light of Torah through all of its manifestations. Science, medicine, military, everything. And we have to continue to be that source of light to the whole world. Not only in our scientific endeavors, but through our actions. We have to show Hakarat HaTov. We have to show that we are Yehudim, that we are Odeh Lashem. We thank Hashem, and we are thankful to those that are good to us in God's name. It's we're coming up on Rosh Chodesh. We have Chanukah, Rosh Chodesh, 3 Sifrei Torah this Shabbos, Baruch Hashem. Rosh Chodesh, as we know, is a time of renewal, a time of tshuva. Let's take an actual picture of ourselves and look hard at it. Are we doing everything that we can be doing to be a true Or Lagayim, to be a true model and light unto the nations? Shabbos hi makara bracha. Shabbos is the source of all blessing. Everybody have an absolutely wonderful Shabbos, Chanukah, Rosh Chodesh, and remember, as Walter always tells us, I don't roll on Shabbos. Don't roll on Shabbos, but do roll out of bed, go to shul, pray to God, and thank Him for all the good that we have. Shabbos hi makara bracha. One more time, it is the source of all blessing. Enjoy, everybody. Happy Chanukah, happy donuts, happy latkes, and may your latkes be greasy and your donuts be sweet. Have an absolutely wonderful Shabbos, a very, very happy Chanukah. Come on back next week. We're going to talk about Vayigash, the big reveal. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.